Just your impression so far of Kevin Stefanski as head coach.
Yeah, I think Kevin's doing a great job. Obviously I've known him for a long time, and Kevin is just, I know you use the word authentic, but he's just a straight shooter. All the meetings we've had with the players, I think we're getting a lot out of it. I think they're responding to him. Right now, I think everything's going well.
All right, thank you, Jake. We're going to go to Mary Kay Cabot next.
Hey, Joe. I don't know if you can address. There are reports that the Browns are interested in Jadeveon Clowney, since he is a free agent and not with another team. I suppose maybe you could just address him as a player. How do you feel about him? Do you feel like he would add to your defense, and how much would you like to have it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's been a really good player in this league. A great pass rusher when he was in Houston and Seattle. This really affects the game. But to be honest with you, that's really a question you got to ask Andrew. I read the articles too. I see him linked to us, Tennessee, see all these teams. But really, right now, I'm really focused on is just coaching the guys we have.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick.
Hey, Joe. With or without Jadeveon, how do you feel about the depth that you guys have kind of stockpiled along that defensive line?
I feel really good about it. Obviously, with Miles, Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, the guys we have, Larry, the guys we added in the draft, Billings and free agency. I feel really good. I've been part of teams, going back to Denver and San Francisco where everything started up front. And I feel like with the guys that we have in our defense right now, I feel like we can really do some things in the run game and the pass game with the guys that we currently have.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Tony Grossi, coming to you. We need you to unmute on your line, please.
Okay, good.
Yes, go ahead.
Joe, could you give us a little more detail about your concept of the defense you're going to run? You were involved in a system comparable to Seattle last year, and before that you were with Vance Joseph. So what's the end product going to look like?
Well, if I tell you, I'm telling everybody in the league what we're doing.
We'll keep it between us.
Yeah, no, really, I feel like, again, I've been on some good defensive staffs the last couple of years, going back to my time in Minnesota, my time in Denver with Wade Phillips, and then last year with San Francisco. What I'm really putting together is a combination of what I feel like has been the top defenses the last basically 10 years. So it's really a combination of the things that I've done in Minnesota, Denver, and San Francisco. And they all fit together. Again, we're almost through our whole install. So I feel like it's going to be a really good defensive package that's simple where the guys can play fast, but I think it'll cause some problems for the offenses.
Thanks, Tony. Jeff Shadell, you're up. You got it, Jeff? All right, we'll hold on for that. We'll go to Daryl Ryder. Daryl, your line's open if you can unmute on your side.
Hey, Joe, I'm just kind of curious. Obviously this is a unique off season. You're pretty much relegated to video conferences with your players. How do you teach some of the things fundamentally that you're ultimately going to need to teach, considering the physicality of the game?
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm leaning towards is, tackling, technique, those type of things. How do you teach that now when you can't be on a practice field?
Well, the first thing, really in NFL, the way it's trended, over the last decade or so, you really don't do things physically on the field in terms of tackling guys, bringing them to the ground. So a lot of drill work and individual, a lot of group work in terms of teaching that aspect of it. But I tell you what, honestly, I feel like these Zoom meetings have been really good because it forces you to be very detailed with everything you're trying to put in. So we've had really good conversations as a defensive staff to make sure that the exact wording's right, the picture's right, the lines are right. And the same thing with the players. because everything they're getting is virtually. So they're asking a lot of good questions. And, our defensive staff has done a great job. I mean, we're doing things with testing, PowerPoint. We have different apps that coaches are using. I mean, I get on meetings every day with each position group, and I think they're doing a great job, and I think they're learning a lot. The physical part of it, that's the stuff we can't get. We just have to wait till we get on the field.
Thanks, Daryl. Jeff, let's try it again. Are you ready?
So you kind of almost answered this question, Joe, but how do you, when you can't get your hands on these guys, how do you really know that they're learning everything you're trying to teach them?
It's really the process that we're going through. Like right now, I'll install the defense, and then our coaches will have an install that's more specific to their position. And part of it is a playbook install. Then the other part of it is a video install, which will include practice tape, game tape. And then the coaches have done a great job giving quizzes. We also do stuff online where we'll ask them a question, whether it's about a defense or a play, where they have to answer through their chat, because when everybody's on the same screen, one guy says, "Oh, it's that." Everybody else is like, "Oh, yeah." But when you put them in the chat room, they have to answer individually. Now you really know if they know the question that you're asking them. So we've gone through great lengths to try to do as much as we can to really find out what they're learning. And to me, I really feel like it's going well.
Tom Withers, you're up.
Hey, Joe, good morning. You just brought back some nightmares of being called out in class and really put on the spot. That takes on a whole new life in a Zoom meeting, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I was curious, you guys were obviously able to assemble an incredible amount of talent on that front line in San Francisco, and clearly you guys are doing the same thing with the Browns. I was just curious with kind of all those alpha males, was that easy to mesh them together? I mean, everybody's out to, get their stats, and sometimes it's not always about team, but was that tough to do, or did that kind of happen organically with all those top line players?
It took time. Because you're right, and you got a bunch of alpha dogs out there, and they all want to be the guy. But I think what they learned in San Francisco, and I think the guys here will learn, is that if you all work together, everybody's going to eat. And that's what you want. You don't want anybody going hungry, right? You want everybody to eat. And I think once the guys realize, as we start working together with what we're going to do within our scheme and how Coach Kiffin is teaching them, they're all going to have an opportunity to make plays.
Thanks, Tom. Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Joe, good to see you. When we last heard from you in January, Myles Garrett, still hadn't been reinstated.
Yeah.
And was in February. So I was wondering, how is your relationship evolving with him? And, can you give us any sense for his mindset right now? Everybody is interested in what he's going to be like coming back, as he has told us many times he wants to be NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and obviously had his season interrupted with high production last year.
Yeah, I think Myles has the right mindset in terms of wanting to be, MVP and all that. But we just need him to be the best player for us that he can be, and whatever happens, happens. But right now, I think he's in a good place. I think as a young player in this league, you go through a lot of different things. So I definitely think he's going to learn and grow from the situation that happened last year. We really haven't talked about it, after, he got back, after he got reinstated. But he's focused on getting better. He's focused on being a good teammate. He's been in the meetings. He's trying to step up and take more of a leadership role. So I definitely think he's moving in the right direction and has the right mindset.
All right, next we'll go to Dan Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Joe, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
I'm wondering, we know that Kevin Stefanski wants to run an offense with multiple tight ends, fullback, a lot of bigger personnel. I'm just curious, as a defensive coordinator, what sort of challenges does that present when you have to face an offense that uses more bigger personnel like that?
Well, really what it comes down to is how effective are you really stopping the run? Because what they do, because that scheme, obviously we played against in the playoffs last year when I was at San Fran. I was with Coach Kubiak in Denver, for basically 2 years with Kyle. they really want to try to establish the run. And then once they get you going with the run and you're running sideways, you're running downhill, now here comes the play action or the misdirection. So part of it to me is, you have to try to make those guys one-dimensional. And if you can't make them one-dimensional, then it's going to be a long day for you. And offensively, they view it as an easier offense for a quarterback to operate just because of the run, put them in position to have success in the pass game. So defensively for us, it would all start that we better knock the run out.
Scott Petrick, your turn.
Hey, Coach, I know you have BJ and then a bunch of young guys at that linebacker position. So I'm curious, how do you see it kind of playing? What's your vision for that position and who fits where in your scheme?
That's a good question. We right now we're giving them some primary positions to learn, but Coach Tarver and Coach Bloom are really trying to cross-train most of the linebackers. It's just going to be a situation once we get on the field and we start running our defense. It's going to be how well they fit it, a specific position. Are they capable of making plays based on the scheme? So it's going to be something we're going to fill out once we get back for training camp. But I tell you what, all those guys in the meetings really have been doing a good job. So I know mentally they can handle it. It's just physically what are they capable of doing?
Great. Next question will be from Marla Ridnour. Marla, if you could unmute on your side, please.
Yeah, I wanted to go down that same path a little bit. Is there something that when you looked at Mack Wilson and Taki that jumped out about maybe their skill set or something that you could improve on, not necessarily their weaknesses, but what did you like about them that gives you optimism about how good they can be?
Yeah, I think they're both athletic. They have cover skills. They have range. I think they're both they play with a nasty demeanor. I remember last year we were looking at Mack and Dre Greenlaw. So they're both, to me, similar type of players. So I have a reference just in terms of what I saw Dre last year. But both of those guys just look like what we want at linebacker. Athletic, play physical, run to the ball. So I think they're a natural fit. They're just both young guys that need to keep gaining experience.
Okay, Terry Pluto, you're up. I believe you need to unmute on your side as well, please.
Joe, I was wondering, like last year, they often played an extra safety as opposed to with a couple of linebackers, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that kind of defense? Is that the sort of stuff that you use, where it's two linebackers and more backs?
No, I've come from both systems. I would like to transition into a dime system, but it's going to be something that's going to take time to get into just because of getting the reps. But eventually I would like to have a nickel package where we have two linebackers on the field, but also just to create better matchups and be a little bit more diverse in our scheme. I would like to get to a dime package where we're putting extra safety on the field.
Great. Mary Kay, we're back to you.
Can I ask one question, Terry? Were you ever like Eastern Michigan or Michigan?
Hang on, I got to unmute him real quick for you, Coach. I can find him.
I'm sorry, I'm disrupting but I remember the name.
Go ahead, Terry. You can unmute.
No, Coach, I'm from around. I worked for a while at the Akron Beacon Journal. Wrote about the MAC some, so that could be the reason.
Okay, I just remember. Yeah, I was at Kent State, and
okay, that's probably why.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. The name.
No, that's okay. I'm glad somebody remembers me. I'm so old,
Me too. No, we're not old. We're young at heart, man.
Excellent. All right, Mary Kay, you're up.
All right, I'm going to try to sneak in 2 questions here if I can real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so just your thoughts on Grant Delpit. How excited maybe are you to have him? And let's just start there. Your thoughts on Grant.
I think Grant is a very talented player. When you look at his tape, he has the ability to play down in the box. He has the ability to play in the post. We can play him at dime. He can match up in the slot and play man coverage. I mean, he's the ideal type of athlete that I look forward to getting the secondary. The size, the speed. To me, he possesses it all. Obviously, you know, everybody's talked about it. He's heard about it from everybody about the tackling issues. The one thing is I know he can tackle. We just need to be more consistent. That's something we'll work on. But he's eager and he's ready to go.
Okay. Great, thanks. And then the second question is, Clay Matthews, the third, is still floating around out there. Is he somebody that even at the age of 34, you think, has plenty left in the tank? And do you have your eye on him?
Yeah, I think the whole mindset philosophy of our organization, if there's any player out there that we feel like can help us, that we'll definitely look into it. But honestly, that would be a better question for Andrew Berry. Because once we start a process of looking at somebody, he'll definitely let us know as a defensive staff, let me know, and then that way we can look at him and make a decision if we want to move forward. But right now, that would be really a better question for Andrew.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We got 3 questions coming up, Scott, Nate, and Tony, and then we'll call it a day. Scott?
Hey, Joe, I think when we talked to you in January, we asked about Lamar. I'm having to face Lamar in Baltimore. And then the Bengals go and draft Joe Burrow with that first pick. So I'm curious how much time you spend in this weird offseason preparing for those guys you're going to face, and you can throw in Ben if you want to.
Oh, yeah, we spent some time, I will tell you that. We've done some things this offseason to help us, because what Baltimore does is unique in terms of their scheme. Now, played against them last year, so I'm familiar with it, what they do. But we did do some things this offseason, the defensive staff, to help us out with playing against a team like Baltimore. And obviously with Lamar, he's just such this athletic speed. He can do it all. So you can have a guy accounting for him, but can that guy make the play? That's what it comes down to. But we've done things to help us in terms of playing Baltimore. With Cincinnati, we know, Joe Burrow, all the talk with him and what he did in college last year. Obviously, he's going to be a great player in this league. But the one thing I would tell you is every week, man, it's something in the NFL. There's no pushovers. There's no easy games. Right. There's going to be a matchup issue, and that's what the NFL is about. It's all about matchups. So we'll have our hands full every week.
Thanks, Scott. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Joe. With talking about the D-line, Adrian Claiborne, what role do you envision for him, and just what do you think he brings to you in the scheme fit?
I think a veteran, I think he's a veteran player that's played multiple positions. So I think he has a lot of value because I feel like we can play him all 3 downs. I feel like we can play him outside. We can play him inside. And based on the conversations I had with him, he wants to be that type of player. He just wants to help out wherever he can. And he doesn't care if he's playing outside, inside. But I think he'll be able to do multiple things for us.
And we'll close with Tony Grossi. Tony, if you could unmute on your side, please, and close us out strong.
Joe, just to finish up with the defensive line, Olivier Vernon had some knee issues last year. What's his current state of health? And what do you think about his state of mind also? There's some rumor, speculation in the offseason that he was less than happy.
Yeah, all my conversations have been good with him. I got on the phone and talked to him personally. He's ready to go. And me and him just had an honest conversation. And he's been great. He's 100% attendance in all the meetings. He's been there. He's speaking up. I know he's done really well on this test. I mean, he scored 100% on a lot of them. So I just think for him, he really wants to just come back this year and play healthy and just show everybody what he's capable of doing. So far, he's been great.
Is he healthy now? Like if you were on the field, would he be on the field?
Yeah, as far as I know, based on the workouts that he's doing, I feel like he's in good shape. And obviously until he gets in front of our medical staff, but all indications are that he's healthy and ready to go.